evening. Welcome to the February 7th Village Board Legislative Session. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag, United States of America, Republic, one nation, under God, liberty, justice, for all.
Present.
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 Present. And Mayor Garrity.
Present.
Have this evening a public hearing in the matter of local law number 2, 2018, titled A Local Law Amending Chapter 241, Article 4, Taxation, Cold War Veterans Exemption of the Village of Austin Code. Corporation Counsel.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Mayor, members of the board, this local law is something we have discussed before. It is to adopt a recently enacted provision from New York State law, which removes the 10-year sunset provision from the Cold War veterans tax exemption. Otherwise, that exemption will expire this year. The state passed a law in 2017 which would allow municipalities to remove the 10-year exemption period, and this proposal does that and changes the duration provision of the Cold War veterans tax exemption to remove the 10-year sunset provision.
Thank you.
Not seeing anyone, may we have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
On the board, did anybody want to comment on the veterans exemption?
Yes, I just wanted to say that it's great that we're able to do this for our veterans in our community, and for anyone watching, or if you know anyone who falls into this category, if we have the opportunity to meet them, please let us know. Really happy that we have you in our community, and this is one of our small tokens that we can give back, as it would say that we care and we are thankful for your service.
And this is something that's been in place, and it would have sunsetted if we didn't take this action. Although it will, it's particularly for a group of veterans that served during a particular time during the Cold War.
From approximately 1945 until about 1963.
Okay. And there was a dollar amount attached to this,
Yes,
correct?
the exemption, the dollar exemptions remain, and under the code, it is the qualifying residential real property shall be exempt from taxation to the extent of 15% of the assessed value, provided that the exemption shall not exceed $12,000.
And didn't the assessor give us a total of what that represents?
In the village overall, yes, I think the total number is approximately $2 million.
Yeah.
In terms of the number of households.
That's a big token.
Right.
And I'm pleased that we're able to direct it in the way that we are. So. Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Oh, is this a roll call vote?
No, it's
Okay.
closing the hearing.
Oh, yeah, okay. Aye.
When we adopt the local law, then yes.
Yes,
that
I was
will be
jumping the
voted.
gun there. All right.
Okay, mayors and trustees announcements.
Go ahead, John.
I want to invite everybody to the music event on Saturday. It's the second Saturday here in Ossining, and that means there's jazz at the Elks Lodge. This Saturday night, we've got Tom Cole Trio. Tom's a fine pianist in the style of Bill Evans, and that starts at 7:30. We'll also have a separate buffet that starts at 6. So hope to see you there. That's the Tom Cole Trio, Saturday, 7:30 at the Elks Lodge, and a little food if you like to have food and jazz. That starts at 6 o'clock. Thanks.
Great.
Saturday, February the 10th is going to be the first ENU first annual Youth Expo. ENU stands for Empower Network Uplift. It'll be this Saturday at the Ossining High School. Doors open at 9 a.m. Everyone's familiar with Angela White. She'll be the keynote speaker. This will be a fashion show, an art exhibit, and for those who want more information, please call 914-487-4849.
Terrific. I think it's quite a significant day. There's workshops and programs throughout the day. I think it's until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? Great. Anyone else with announcements?
Yes.
Please.
Good evening. So just a reminder that our homeless shelter is open Monday through Sunday. All you have to do is go to in front of Open Door Family Medical Center by 9 p.m. and there'll be a staff member there to assist you on next steps. You do receive a warm dinner followed by a warm breakfast and to-go lunch. Also, if you are a resident who's just concerned or want to know more about the shelter, please contact me at Herrera, Herrera, at villageofaustin.org. I did some walks throughout the village a couple months ago, and I think I'm going to start those back up. They're usually in the evening, so it's mainly adults because we do walk, throughout the village and try to see what's going on and how we can assist people the best way possible. So that's that. And as you guys know, I'm trying to reach people at every level, no matter who you are, to be connected with this board. So I will be launching virtual office hours. So Facebook Live office hours begin this Monday, February 12th, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pick that time because most people work during the day. So it's Facebook /Trustee Herrera, or you could do it through Twitter direct message at Trustee Omar. If you can't do that, I will be starting Skype and video chats that can be scheduled. So stay tuned on that. But if you want to meet in person, that's still available too. You can always just email me or come to one of these meetings. And coming up next Saturday, we have County Legislator Catherine Borgia and County Executive George Latimer having a coffee conversation, which is open to all District 9 constituents. That encompasses Ossining, Briarcliff, Croton, Cortland, Peekskill. And that's going to be held on Saturday, February 17th, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Ossining Community Center Multi-Purpose Room. And it is Black History Month, so I have a quote, one of my favorite quotes. "You must never be fearful about what you are doing when it is right." Rosa Parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Rika, do you have any announcements this week? Okay, well, I will mention two upcoming events this weekend. The community is going to be kicking off, well, the library is going to be kicking off their 125th anniversary celebration. Everyone is welcome to head down to the library this Saturday, February 10th at 2 p.m. And there'll also be a second event this weekend on Sunday, the 11th, obviously, and that's a little later in the day. It's at 5:30 p.m., and that one's going to be a big party for kids and teens. So hope to see you there at the library this weekend. It certainly is one of my favorite resources we have in this community. It's one of the most heavily programmed libraries there in Westchester County, with always so many terrific things going on. And I'll put my other hat on right now and talk about one of those programs that happens at the library. And this will be next Thursday evening, February 15th, and it's the Ossining Documentary and Discussion Series. The film this month is called Soundtrack for a Revolution, and it explores the civil rights struggle through powerful and stirring songs, those that inspired a generation. And we have a pretty fantastic panel. One of the folks is our own KJ Dennert, who will be with us. I don't think she's going to be singing, but rather she's going to be talking about the influence of the power of music in the civil rights movement. And I'm really excited about this very interesting panel of women who we'll be talking with. Madam Clerk.
Okay, we'll move on to administrative reports, and we'll begin with Village Manager Deborah McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I am sad to say that Paywan Ara has had to resign from the planning board, and it was an unexpected. I know we just appointed him to another 5-year term, but I am pleased to announce that Jesus Lopez from the Zoning Board of Appeals has agreed to step up to that board. So I'll be appointing him to that position, and we will be searching in the community for someone to replace Jesus on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So we will be putting out an announcement. If anyone who's watching this is interested, there is a way to apply for that position on our website now and to get a better understanding of what the Zoning Board of Appeals does. So I encourage people to go to the website and look at that and apply for the position. So we would love to have some new faces on our boards. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Question, Madam Manager. Is there any kind of qualifications that people have to have in order to be on the zoning board? Is it open to anyone in the community?
There really isn't. It's not like in the historic preservation board, they really like someone who's an architect or has historic background. but there is no qualifications other than being a resident of the village.
Thank you.
Move on to Corporation Counsel Stuart Kahan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann. Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. About 2 weeks ago, Director of Planning, Lynn Brooks Avni, and I attended a NICOM seminar on abandoned properties out in Hempstead. I know that I think the week before, our village manager and the building inspector were at the same conference up in Fishkill. So we are comparing notes, and there's a lot of information with regard to what to do about abandoned properties, what you can and what you can't do, particularly both commercial and dealing also with the various residential properties. It was very interesting to hear the different views of villages on the island, which are still suffering from Superstorm Sandy issues as relate to abandoned properties. But we had a few people like us who, as they say, crossed the river and crossed the bridge to get to Long Island. The issues with abandoned properties it's throughout the state. It's obviously not just here. The numbers of properties are immense, and one of the problems is that New York has the second slowest foreclosure process in the entire country. Nassau and Suffolk County are ground zero. They are first and second with the number of foreclosure cases that are pending. The reason that we have so many foreclosure cases is that New York only permits foreclosure to be done by a court. In other states, there is called a non-judicial foreclosure, which can basically take a matter of weeks. In New York, on average, it takes a matter of 3 to 4 years to ultimately get a foreclosure effectuated. So there's a lot of information that we learned, a lot of information about how to make the servicers or the banks responsible for upkeep of the properties, fines that can be imposed, fines which, when imposed, are in fact payable to the village, not to the state of New York. So that is a benefit there. There are still kinks to work out. There is a list that we're going to be signing up for, which will give us a list of all abandoned properties within the village, which will be updated by the Department of Financial Services on a fairly regular basis. So we're going to start, implementing, some of the things that go on there. But it's a problem. I can tell you, it was a sold out. I don't know how it was in Fishkill, but I know up in Hempstead there was standing room only. You had council, you had building inspectors, you had mayors, and it's a problem from the wealthiest communities to the communities that are really on the fringe. And so it's something that they've tried to start to do in the Department of Financial Services. The difficulty is the immensity of the project. Department of Financial Services has not increased their staff. So, they are working on a bare bones budget to get their work done. And they are the ones who are putting the lists together. And one of the important things that we learned is that the municipalities themselves can not only prepare their own list, but they can give the information to the Department of Financial Services so those houses can be added to the list. And again, the abandoned houses we're talking about are all residential. They do not refer to commercial. There are different regulations that you might have to deal with commercial. So that was a very valuable seminar. Tomorrow I'll be at the quarterly Corporation Council Roundtable. It's actually a square table, not round, but it is held at Pace University. We get Corporation Council from Putnam, Dutchess, and Westchester County. Tomorrow will be a 2-hour discussion on parking and parking issues. I am told the reason that they want to have so many of us there is on that issue. And to get us there, they have apparently promised the best bagels in the area. So I will report back and let everyone know how it is. But actually, in a serious vein, those Corporation Council roundtables are of immense help. They are done through the Pace University Land Use Center. We've had information on zoning techniques, and we've had information on telecommunications and telecom and those issues. This one on parking. And it's invaluable to be able to basically meet, counterparts from other villages, primarily throughout Westchester, and see that in many ways we all have the same issues, and just how they are dealing with them in those locations, how they've been successful, and how they're being challenged. So it's good to exchange notes and things like that. So I'll report back after that one.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Police Chief Kevin Sylvester.
We don't get bagels at our meetings, but that would be nice. Couple different things going on with the police department this week. This week we're excited to announce that we have installed our lending library in the lobby of the police station, which is a location that people can come and pick up books. They can leave a book behind. We're not necessarily a collection center for them. If you want to donate books, that's really best to be done through the school district. But it's an opportunity for anybody stopping in the police station, either just passing by or coming to get a report or for whatever reason. We want to put more books in more hands. So it's mostly children's books, and people can, if you have children with you or children at home, you can stop by and grab some books from us. Right now they're in a crate in the lobby. We have a really nice display coming that's being donated from one of our very generous residents for this this weekend. So it should be really cool and a nice display starting there next week. As part of that, we had our first evolution of Coffee with a Cop this week. This one was a bit of a private venue. We did it in Brookside School. They had a parent-teacher conference that only involved a few different classrooms because it's a pilot program. So what we did in order to encourage parents to not only attend, but to stay awake and attentive in the classrooms, we offered coffee and some snacks as they walked in and gave us a good opportunity to get some face time with those parents. At the same time, we also did cops and cookies down the hall. As it turns out, there are a few kids in our community where parents may not have access to childcare. And in order to ensure that those parents are involved in the school district and giving their kids the best opportunity for success, we had a couple of officers that volunteered to come in and set up movies and snacks in the library at Brookside School with them. So overall, that was that's a good day for us. This morning, on a little less fun note, we did experience a slight rumbling, if anybody felt that, at about 6:14 this morning. The U.S. Geological Survey did confirm that somewhere just north of us we had a 2.2 magnitude earthquake. So we took a couple of calls this morning from people saying it felt like a truck rumbled by their house. No damage to report, no injuries, nothing of that sort. But if anybody was concerned about that, we did in fact get confirmation of that. Police Department's operation this week focuses on training, and this week's topic is legal updates and sexual harassment training, which is always relevant, I guess, in our time frame. So right now, those are requisites for New York State accreditation purposes, so our entire department's undergoing that. And then we'll move on to our next topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, we'll now move on to organizational announcements. Is there anyone here with an organizational announcement? Not seeing anyone. We'll move on to village board resolutions. Is there anyone to comment on any of the village board resolution? Move into the adoption. Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the minutes of the January 17th, 2018 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated February 7th, 2018, the amount of $1,436,496.17. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Yes.
Yes, I wanted to just make mention of the amount. It is almost $1.5 million, but about $630,000 of that was the payment for our new fire truck. So, and that is not quite up and running yet, but it's going to be there. They're installing all the equipment and everything else, and it should be operational very soon. So we're excited to have that in service and providing great fire safety for our village. Thank you.
Yes, I took note of the large number myself and looked a little more carefully at some of the big chunks there and did ask the Tom Warren treasurer about some of those, which included some of the just seasonally truing up with some of the quarterly payments to the town for a couple of IMAs, which are 5-figure numbers, and then there was a lot of salt.
Yeah,
Tens of thousands of dollars of salt, and hopefully that keeps us from slipping around on the road.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to Chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Austin, the authorized representative of the business, LSG Culinary Inc., DBA Good Choice Kitchen, 147 Main Street, has made application to the village clerk as licensing officer for cabaret licenses for live music And whereas pursuant to section 100-3 and 100-5 of the code, the village clerk has caused an investigation to said application and referred the same to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now therefore it is resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for LSG Culinary Inc., DBA Good Choice Kitchen, 147 Main Street, for the 2018 calendar as follows. LSG Culinary Inc., DBA Good Choice Kitchens, background music, DJ, and small piece band for 7 days, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, I'd like to comment. This is the first of what looks to be 5 cabaret licenses that we're going to be considering tonight. This is one of 2 that we discussed at last week's work session, so it's included in the regular order of resolutions. And then we've got 3 more that kind of got tacked on at the end as we received the final reports from the building department and the police department. Thank you for all of the research that everyone's done. But I particularly want to say it's very nice to see Good Choice Kitchen participating and applying for their first cabaret license. It wasn't until last year that we had really any interest from businesses that didn't also have a liquor license. So we changed our entire structure of how we issue cabaret licenses. There's 3 different tiers depending on if you have a full liquor license, beer and wine, or as in this case, at this point anyway, they do not have a liquor license. And I think they're only the second business of that kind, because First Village Coffee was the first to
I
take
believe that's
advantage of that, to have the cabaret license. So anyone else want to comment on this first of the cabaret licenses for the night? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to Chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Ossining, the authorized representatives of the Atlantic Bar have made application to the village clerk as licensing officer for cabaret licenses for live music, and whereas pursuant to Section 100-3 and 100-5 of the Code, the village clerk has caused an investigation into said application and referred the same to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now therefore it is resolved that pursuant to the code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves cabaret licenses for the nights of Thursday through Saturday from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the Atlantic Bar. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Going to vote no?
Resolved, the village clerk is authorized to advertise for bids for contract OFD 18-01, furnish and deliver 1 new 22-passenger command vehicle to be returnable to the offices of the village clerk. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor? Opposed? Resolved, the village manager is authorized to execute an agreement with IFCA Housing Network for IFCA to continue to administer the rental component of the village's affordable housing program for 2018. Such agreement to be reviewed by Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll be recusing myself from this vote.
So moved.
Second. Whatever.
Okay, I'll just, we discussed this at last week's work session. This is a continuation of the same relationship that we've had with IFCA for a number of years, where they do the work of qualifying candidates for a number of the applicants for the affordable housing, the affordable units that are part of the village's affordable housing program. I believe we have 47 in all, and IFCA has done the work for most of them all, but I think 17 or so that are over at Avalon. They do their own, but it's been a helpful relationship, because this is something, it's a lot of legwork, and it's something that we're very pleased to be able to work with them.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have 1 abstention.
Is abstention and
It's not an
recusal the same
abstention,
thing? I
it's
think a recusal is different.
Not the same.
Corporation.
A recusal would actually be a no vote. He's actually not voting. So he's not technically abstained. If he abstained, he need not recuse himself. But since he's recused, it's not considered an abstention. It's just he's not voting on this particular.
What did you just say?
That's
So
not the
what
same
are
as
we
a
gonna
no.
put down, a no?
Marion wants to know what to put down.
Put down as if he's not here for that vote. It'd be basically 4-0.
Okay.
Thank you.
No one?
Okay.
Whereas the Ossining Arts Project Committee has 11 members appointed by the Board of Trustees, of the Village of Ossining, who shall be appointed to a term of 2 years. And whereas there are currently expired terms on the Ossining Arts Project Committee, now therefore be it now resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby reappoints the following 8 individuals to the Ossining Arts Project Committee. Jessica Irons, 12/31/18. Alan Lutwood, 12/31/18. Bradley Morrison, 12/31/18. Mike Risco, 12/31/18. Theodore Daniels, 12/31/19. Peggy Monastra, 12/31/19. Michelle Concha Herrico, 12/31/19. And Henry Welt, 12/31/19. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
John, did you want to comment on this?
Yeah, this is a reappointment of the Ossining Arts Project Committee that has been doing some good work to really make sure that Ossining is an inviting and nice place to do art of any kind. And we do have 3 openings in addition to the ones that are obviously noted here. So if anybody has an interest in being part of the Arts Committee, please send a resume of interest or a letter of interest to our village manager, Deborah McDonald. Thank you very much.
And yeah, this is our newest, one of our newest committees, and there's no requirement by code that there be 11. It's been up to 11. They certainly are well able to continue with the 8 that they have. But if they have more people that are going to be valuable contributors, I'm sure that would be.
Yeah,
welcome.
it's a proactive committee. It's not something that responds to any legislative
Right.
Mandate of any kind. It's really a committee that wants to connect artists, create, help people understand where there are resources for artists, whether it's event space, whether it's other resources that could be available to them. It's been a great synergy of the different arts groups that have been involved. So it's been a great committee so far, and there's going to be more interesting things coming. Group.
Very good.
So applications would be accepted online for that, as well as the other board.
Oh, do we have the
The
application? on?
application is online, and it's for each of the different committees. You can review what they do, and then you can click apply here, and it comes right up, and it's a fillable form,
Oh, so
thanks to
exciting.
Jamie.
So exciting! Thank you. And there's that little icon that's the hands raised. Okay, very good. So you just click on that, and you'll be able to actually fill out the form online. Bravo.
Wow.
Okay,
All
Madam
those-
Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolve the 2017 general water and sewer funds budgets are modified to transfer available unexpended appropriations and/or excess revenues for year-end equipment purchases and capital repairs or for budgetary accounts with insufficient appropriation as follows. And I'll just read the bottom line here, I guess.
Oh, how exciting!
Okay, total decrease in appropriations in the water and sewer funds, $192,507. Do I have a motion?
Second.
On the board, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Board of Trustees wishes to establish capital projects for various capital purposes and purchases which were part of the village's 2018 capital plan and designated to be financed by accumulated and available surplus fund balance as of December 31st, 2017. Now therefore be it resolved, the adopted budgets of the general water and sewer funds are modified in 2017 to appropriate surplus revenues, unexpended appropriations, and or accumulated and available fund balance for 2018 capital plan items aggregating $833,100, and that capital projects and capital project budgets be established as follows. On for several pages here. No, the total amount is $833,000.
So moved.
Second.
Before we vote, I just want to. This is an awful lot, and I just want to reflect back to the public where this is coming from. Debbie, could you speak to this a bit? We discussed it previously in the work session, but budget meetings?
I will. There's actually several increases and decreases, and what we're doing is moving funds around to take care of our capital items that the board wishes to fund. The general water and sewer appropriations is $833,100, but the decrease in the general fund is $284,950. The decrease in the sewer fund is $31,150. The increase in general fund estimated revenues is $125,000. The increase in general fund appropriated fund balance, general and water fund appropriated fund balance is $392,000 for a total that equals the first number, which is $833,100. So there's various accounts that things come out of and go into, but the bottom line is it's zero. It balances.
Yeah, no, I get that, but some of these, this is 2017 appropriations, and is this, as I recall from our conversations, and I'm gathering that this is the implementation of what we discussed, where there were a number of items that we wanted to include in what we're doing going forward, that rather than add them on to a levy for what we would include in a tax raise for 2018, we were using unexpended funds from 2017, and this is the actual implementation of that.
That's correct.
Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Disposition of surplus vehicles. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby declares the following vehicles as surplus equipment and authorizes their disposal in accordance with New York State law by sale or otherwise as is. 2010 Ford Civic, 2001 Chevy Express Van, 2010 Ford Civic, 2000 Ford Ranger XL, 2003 Chevy Venture, the 1993 Leaf Machine, the 1999 Ford Civic, 1988 Dodge Ram 350, 1994 Ford F700, and a 2006 Dodge Ram 3500. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is that a Civic or a Crown Victoria?
I think that's a
Oh, is
Crown
that what it is?
Victoria.
Oh,
Is,
okay.
I know.
Oh, it looks like an eye, but
Yeah, it does.
it's a slash.
I was trying to envision all the Civics that
I
we
was-
have in our
yeah, I
fleet,
was
and so the
trying.
Crown Vic, that makes more
Ford,
sense.
Ford
Okay.
doesn't make a Civic that I know of, so.
All right. Madam, all questions on the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the fire chief, Jesus Acosta of New York, Ossining, New York, was elected active member of Monitor Hose Company Number 4 for interior and exterior firefighting at their regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the fire chief, Lizanne Stinson of Austin, New York, was elected active member of the Austin Fire Police and Emergency Squad as a fire police officer at their regular meeting.
Correction. Liza Nay.
Liza Knight, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
On the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby removes Jose Ferreira and Luis Rodriguez from the active roles of the Austin Fire Department. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved that upon the recommendation of the Fire Chief, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby places, that's supposed to be Daniel J. Farrell, on driver's training for the Austin Fire Department. Do
So
I have a
moved.
motion?
So
So,
moved.
second.
On the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have any continuing business of?
Oh, we have resolution
Thank you.
O. It was a late arriving
Yes.
resolution, so
Oh, wait a minute.
Here.
she has
Sorry.
you must have an earlier version
I
of
guess I do.
our yes.
Resolved that Matthew Harris
Aristesi.
is appointed as a member of the Downtown Development Fund Council for a term expiring June 30th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
You want to comment?
Yes.
Please.
So
in an effort that we started, I think, last year to really look at the different committees and boards and councils. This is one of the Downtown Fund Council is a little bit different than the rest. They make recommendations about the downtown based on a fund that they have. So this fills the board. It's a fourth member, volunteer member. Very excited to have Matt. We interviewed him, the mayor and I. Really, he's a new member in a sense of the community, and we're really excited to have him join us and bring a lot of his time and effort to projects along. So this is great news for all of our committees as I'm filling up and filling up and filling up. So glad to have him.
Yes, and actually we heard for years that it's just so hard to get people to volunteer for these committees. And whether it's just because people love their community so much, we've done a really great job at letting people know about it, or our country and our community is really paying more attention and really looking for ways that they can contribute positively to their community. Whatever it is, we're delighted to have so many people raise their hand and volunteer to serve in so many ways for the community. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Abstain.
Quantel. Okay, do we have any continuing business of the board?
No, ma'am. I was supposed to answer that, wasn't I? No, I don't think we have any continuing business. I'm ready for new business.
Okay, we're going to move on to new business. Discussion of 2018 cabaret application for Westerly Bar and Grill. Whereas pursuant to Chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Ossining, the authorized representatives of the business 3 Westerly Bar and Grill, 3 Westerly Road, has made application to the village clerk as licensing officer for cabaret licenses for live music, and whereas pursuant to Section 100-3 and 105 of the Code, the village clerk has caused an investigation, said application, and referred the same to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the Code, the Board Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for 3 Westerly Bar and Grill, 3 Westerly Road for the 2018 calendar year as follows. 3 Westerly Bar and Grill, background music, DJ, and small piece band for special customer requests 7 days, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Question?
Yeah, do we do that 7 days a week for everybody else, or is this different?
This is what they had requested in theirs, and that was actually, I think, similar to what it was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we follow.
It's the same as last year?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was different. Thank you. Got it. I just thought it felt different, but thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to Chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Ossining, the authorized representatives of the business Carmel Lounge Cabaret, 175 Main Street, has made application to the village clerk as licensing officer for cabaret license for live music, and whereas pursuant to Section 100-3 and 100-5 of the Code, the village clerk has caused an investigation into said application and referred the same to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now therefore it is resolved that pursuant to the Code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a cabaret license for Carmel Lounge Cabaret for the 2018 calendar as follows. Carmel Lounge, Thursday through Sunday, combination of DJ and live music, no later than 2 a.m. each night. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas pursuant to Chapter 100 and 171 of the Code of the Village of Ossining, the authorized representatives of Tierras Tropicalis have made application to the village clerk as licensing officer for cabaret license for live music, and whereas pursuant to Section 100-3 and 100-5 of the Code, the village clerk has caused an investigation to said application and referred the same to the Board of Trustees for final approval. Now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to the Code, the Board of Trustees hereby approves cabaret license for the nights of Friday and Saturday from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Tierras Tropicalis. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Okay. That brings us to visitor recognition. Anyone who's come to address the board?
It appears so. Visitor recognition?
Is there anyone else who's come to address the board?
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Evening.
Deborah Pangle, and I'm with the Cat Squad Rescue, as I'm sure you guys know by now. Basically, a group of us are here this evening just to sort of connect again, and since we introduced the Austining Tether Law on January 3rd, and along with 300 signatures. By the way, I have to make copies, but we have some new young advocates in Austining who are involved in the high school system here, and who are very engaged and interested in what's going on with the Tether Law, and are very supportive of it. And I have 275 signatures from all Austining students to submit. I have to make copies, so I'll get them to you. But it's very exciting to have young people engaged in, especially this law that is so very popular and really spreading through the country. I do want to say that in New York, as of yesterday, a New York State bill has been passed as of yesterday that will then go to the state assembly, that is going to be very much involved in protecting animals and tether, connected to the Tether Law, etc., involving more fines and more of a law connected to protecting animals in New York. As of this past week, by the way, as well, Pennsylvania has now passed the Tether Law, and I don't know whether any of you guys were able to review the information that I submitted last week, but the states to date who have passed the Tether Law in the United States are Washington, D.C., California, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, West Virginia, and as of this past week, Pennsylvania. In addition to that, there are 36 communities on local levels in Westchester who are engaged in having the Tether Law passed, and there are 78 local communities who have right now limited laws for tethering dogs. So just I'm here basically tonight to sort of just go through this again and let you all know we're still involved and engaged. I also had forgotten to mention last time, Mr. Kahan, that
Ms. Pangle?
SPCA is supporting this law as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your time is up, but I see that you're here with the whole group, so I
Okay.
imagine there may be some more
Ready?
sentiments that want to be expressed. That's absolutely fine. Welcome.
Janae Roberts. I live at 416 Benedict Avenue, Tarrytown, New York. So anyway, my friend called me on Sunday and said, "So you are rooting for the Patriots, right?" And I said, "Well, no, actually, I'm rooting for the underdogs. I'm going for the Eagles." And they won. And as of right now, I'm still rooting for the underdogs. So when I was not feeling well on Sunday, and I didn't watch the game, but when I was not feeling well on Sunday, I was just sitting back, taking it easy, and said, I think I'm going to watch that 5th annual Kitten and Puppy Bowl. That is this big thing. I've never seen it before. And it's put on by the North Shore Animal League. And for anyone who has never seen it, to watch pure happiness blossom and tiny animals rescued from the recent hurricanes and in turn get adopted was heartwarming. if each one of us would participate, even in the smallest way, with one rescue, and see the trust in the faces of helpless, frightened animals, I believe even the coldest hearts would thaw. During the show, they spoke of the importance of young people, high school students, and even younger, getting exposed to and involved with rescuing animals. What it builds lasts a lifetime, and the rewards are immeasurable. So they were very big on young people getting involved. Since the discussion tonight is the tether law, I'd like to say that enjoying the outdoors and the freedom it provides is something all animals, including us, enjoy. But I'm not asking you to answer me. You don't have to answer me, but somewhere I'd like to know, how much would you enjoy the outdoors if you were chained, especially for lengthy periods of time alone? It happens around the world. We're just lucky. When I was a little girl in Pelham Manor, my mother taught piano to a student, and they had a fancy whole outdoor thing for their dog. And I went there one day after school. I met my mom. She was finishing her lesson. I said, "Where's your dog?" And they said they were devastated because when they got home from work, their dog had jumped and the leash caught, and the dog was found strangled and dead and never coming back. Okay, so not only does tethering compromise emotional well-being of an animal that cannot express itself in words, but it creates a vulnerability health-wise, ticks, Lyme disease, ehrlichiosis, all kinds of things, and makes an animal an easy target for predators like the coyote. It is inhumane. Deborah, as small as the group is here, can I just say this last sentence?
One sentence.
One sentence. As much as her fight for animals may be inconvenient, her passion and commitment far outweighs the inconvenience. She does not care to win popularity contests. She cares to save precious lives. Please pass the tether law.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
See some people that are thinking about commenting.
Hi, I'm Layla. I'm 14. Well, I wasn't too familiar with the tether law until Deborah came to my attention with it. And social media is like really big, and you always see videos of dogs, animals in general that are being tortured, abused, and we all feel guilty about it, but none of us do anything about it, unless just watch it, feel upset. But when I saw a chance that I could actually do something about it, I took it. There's animals in Austining, like the town that we live in, that are not being treated well, and that makes me upset. Like, I feel bad for them so bad. I have a dog of my own, and I would never leave it outside to, be bored out of its mind, to, can't protect itself against harmful animals. The thought of just putting an animal out there just to be, the thought of putting an animal outside that long where it could get hurt, I think is, crazy, why buy an animal if you're just going to leave it outside? And, when I went around to my school collecting signatures, I explained to the people the truth, that leaving your animal outside, your pet, your dog, could, your dog could suffer from heat strokes, hypothermia, it could starve, it could, dehydrate. And so I don't understand why people will still leave their dog outside. And, coming to help out with this means a lot, because I'm really trying, I'm trying with everybody here to really try to end that, because I think it's very important. I wouldn't ever leave an animal outside to suffer like that. And I hope neither of you would either. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Layla.
Thank you.
Or anyone else?
Welcome.
My name is Miranda Reynolds. I'm 16 and I'm a vet student. And I've learned recently a lot about parasites, and so some of them are hookworm, roundworm, tapeworm, and all types of worms. And they can cause a lot of horrible things: vomiting, diarrhea, just parasites that will hurt them. You know, they don't help. They can cause blindness and eventually death. So the problem with leaving your animals outside is they will be susceptible to, as Layla said, all sorts of illnesses. They'll also be susceptible to predators, and basically anything that can hurt them is outside. So there will be other dogs, there could be even people who come in and hurt them. There are also cars if they get loose, and there's a lot of horrible things that can happen to them when they're outdoors. They can get sick from Lyme, which she said, and it's really inhumane to keep them out, especially overnight when the temperatures can get really low, or when it's raining or snowing, because they can get, as I said, hypothermia, heat stroke, and eventually it can get to the point where they can die and be dehydrated and starved. So, you know, pass the tether law in order to save the animals.
Thank you very much, Ms. Reynolds.
Is there anyone else?
Welcome.
Pleasure to be here, to see all of you. My daughter is brave enough to do it. I can do it. My name is Melissa Reynolds, and we've been proud Ossining inhabitants for the last 11 years. And I was just thinking, as I was watching everybody and listening to, you know, the passages that you were reading beforehand, what a great town we live in, and to be involved is just so important. And for myself and my family, we've had so many instances of compassion, you know, to us personally over the years. And I got emotional thinking about that because I am attached to this town. And because of the kindness of this town and the compassion of this town, I really feel that we are a town that could do this, that really could move ahead with animals' rights. I think it goes with who we are. You know, growing up in the 60s and 70s, in Larchmont, there was a dog next door to us named King. He was a German Shepherd, and he was tethered. And he had mange, he had lice, he was emaciated. You know, we were kids, we tried to give him food and water. You know, the neighbors would chase us off the yard. And one day we came home from school and he was dead in the front yard. And thinking back on that, I was thinking, oh, you know what, it was the 70s, people just didn't have the same kind of regulations, people weren't as aware. But now I'm seeing that it's not just in the past, it's happening now. And, you know, I don't think there's a reason for it. It just seems like a law like this would just be such a morally and ethically correct thing to do. And I hope that Ossining is a leader and does it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reynolds.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Welcome.
Good evening. My name's Brian Montgomery, and you see me up here before with the Ossining Fire Department. I was at a meeting actually earlier tonight, but hopefully the voucher report was approved. In there was payment for our new truck. We do plan on inviting everybody up to Independent at some time in the near future when the weather's a little bit more conducive to being outside to look over the truck and see how well it has turned out. And I just wanted to let you know that, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by tonight. Yes,
Thank
the
you.
voucher detail report was indeed approved, and we are very much looking forward to seeing the truck in person. It looks terrific. Congratulations. Well done.
Is there anyone else?
Thank you very much to everyone who came and spoke on behalf of humane treatment of animals in our community. Thank you for all the time that has been put forth in getting other people in our community aware. It's very heartening to see folks of all ages taking time to have really thoughtful conversations and to learn about what you might be able to do to make positive change in your own community. And I will let folks know that Corporation Counsel Kahan and I have spoken about some of the tether law proposed legislation or existing legislation in other locations for us to be able to discuss at an upcoming work session. Yes. It's tentatively on the agenda for the 28th of February. So we'll circulate any material for the board to look at in advance of that. Anybody else want to comment? Question?
No, I just wanted to say that, you know, it takes a lot to come up here and talk about something that's, you know, important to you and also is affecting your life. So I appreciate all of you for speaking and coming today. And as Mayor Garrity stated, we should be able to have a response to your request after our process. You know, we do have a process, so it does take a little longer to actually get a response, but we are all working on it.
I then have a motion for an adjournment to executive session for litigation, personnel, and collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second.
All right, with that, I will say thank you very much. Please join us next week for a special Valentine's Day Village Board work session at Village Hall, 16 Croton Avenue.
Oh, lovely.
Yep. Chocolates and flowers for everyone.
Oh, we paying for that or?
No, all those, it was just show up. All those in favor of adjourning to executive session.
Aye.
Aye. See you next week. Good night.